It seems to be a 400K voting swing in favor of Paige Bueckers that happened within a span of 3 days. A 3-day 400K voting swing for Paige Bueckers? I think not. There is a scandal. It is rigged what's going on with this voting. That UConn Mafia is strong. They done pulled some strings and rigged the damn voting. The players done voted Caitlin Clark as the 11th best guard in the whole league. We got to get...
The numbers don't lie. They reveal a seismic anomaly that threatens the very credibility of the WNBA's all-star voting. This is a mathematical impossibility, a 400,000 vote swing that materialized in a vacuum over just 72 hours. It's a digital heist, and it has thrust Paige Bueckers and Caitlin Clark into the center of the league's greatest controversy. A clandestine force, the so-called UConn Mafia, has supposedly manipulated the system to catapult Paige Bueckers from the 5th position to a fraudulent 1st place, dethroning Caitlin Clark and exposing a deep-seated conspiracy. This is the story of a league at war with its own star. It is a saga of petty jealousy and institutional sabotage directed at Caitlin Clark, the player who is single-handedly rewriting the statistical history of the sport. This isn't just about an exhibition game. It's about respect, legacy, and the recognition that is rightfully due. While Paige Bueckers is lauded as the heir apparent, Caitlin Clark is being systematically devalued, and the recent all-star voting is merely the smoking gun. To understand this crisis, we must scrutinize the numbers. The data shows an unprecedented spike for Paige Bueckers. It's a coordinated effort to forcibly insert Bueckers into a conversation where she doesn't belong. The WNBA, in a desperate attempt to manufacture parity, is actively working against its own best asset. Paige Bueckers is the beneficiary of a rigged system, but Caitlin Clark is the one paying the price. The implication is clear: the establishment will do everything in its power to diminish her greatness. This is the opening chapter of a grand betrayal.
Let's get right into things. Shout out to my guy IDXTX on Twitter. He always be in the chat. He put this up. They posted the unofficial numbers. Paige got 1.4 mil. CC got 1.2. Blah, 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 so and so. So Paige gained 400,000 votes in 3 days. That's the main part I'm focused on. Y'all mean to tell me from the last time the voting took place that...
The timeline of this conspiracy is alarming. Within a single 72-hour window, Paige Bueckers accumulated over 400,000 votes. This is a statistical impossibility for a player whose on-court performances are rarely the subject of national conversation. The public voting numbers had previously placed Caitlin Clark in 2nd place, trailing only her teammate Aaliyah Boston. Paige Bueckers, by contrast, was languishing in 5th. The sudden explosion in support for Paige Bueckers is not organic. It is the product of a coordinated effort to manipulate the outcome, a blatant act of sabotage aimed at Caitlin Clark. The WNBA's agenda is transparent. They are petrified of allowing Caitlin Clark to dominate yet another accolade. By rigging the vote in favor of Paige Bueckers, the league hopes to fabricate a rivalry and present other players as more popular than Caitlin Clark. This calculated move is designed to fracture the narrative surrounding the league's greatest star. The UConn Mafia allegedly pulled some strings to orchestrate this for Paige Bueckers, all to undermine the legitimacy of Caitlin Clark's dominance. This act of sabotage has long-term consequences. By suppressing Caitlin Clark's influence, the WNBA is implicitly admitting that its other star players cannot compete with her on a level playing field. For Paige Bueckers, this creates a double-edged sword. The narrative will forever label her as an undeserving recipient of this fraudulent boost. She isn't the architect of this scandal, but she is complicit in its benefits. The stain of a rigged victory will forever tarnish any accomplishment she earns, while Caitlin Clark becomes the martyr fighting against a corrupt institution.
Caitlin Clark was voted the 11th best guard in the league by WNBA players, and also, which was disgusting, Kelsey Plum was voted as 12th. She's averaging nearly 25 a game. I mean, it's nasty what the WNBA players are doing. The player ranking right here, they got Caitlin Clark at 11. That is beyond disrespectful. These players are haters. 1000%. They are haters. They are haters.
The most damning evidence of this coordinated attack came from a poll of the players themselves. The WNBA players, the very peers of Caitlin Clark, voted her as the 11th best guard in the league. This is a seismic insult. In the same poll, Kelsey Plum, who was averaging nearly 25 a game, was ranked 12th. The message was unmistakable. A systematic bias is at play within the locker rooms. This is the professional jealousy of an entire industry feeling threatened by a newcomer who has obliterated the sport's statistical ceiling. This historical precedent of jealousy is well documented. The transcript notes that before Caitlin Clark arrived, Sabrina Ionescu, despite a career-high shooting percentage, was ranked as the 19th best guard. It's a pattern that isolates a specific archetype. The implications for team chemistry are catastrophic. If players are willing to publicly undermine Caitlin Clark, how can they effectively collaborate on the court? This resentment fosters a toxic environment where individual agendas consistently undermine team goals. This is institutional sabotage, not just a personal vendetta. It is crucial to compare this situation to previous league eras to understand the unprecedented nature of the hate directed at Caitlin Clark. Never before has a player faced such combined derision from the media, fellow players, and the league office while simultaneously shattering every statistical record in existence. The combination of white and straight was highlighted in the source transcript as a catalyst for this animosity. While uncomfortable, this assessment suggests that her identity, juxtaposed against the league's cultural fabric, has made her a target for a level of persecution unseen in the WNBA.
Rigged voting, a 400K voting swing in 3 days, the players claiming she's the 11th best guard. Y'all do realize there hasn't been a single player in the league that averaged 20 points and 8 assists for a month. There hasn't been a single player in league history that averaged 20 points and 8 assists for a month. Caitlin Clark is averaging that on the season. On the season! There hasn't been another player in league history that's done it for 30 days.
The hate is real, and it is manifested in tangible actions. The players who voted Caitlin Clark as the 11th best guard must explain how she is statistically inferior to the 10 players ranked above her. The data does not support their conclusion, leaving only jealousy and resentment as the primary motivations. This resentment is not just about the color of her skin or her sexual orientation. It is about her privilege, her popularity, and her ability to transcend the sport. This is a group of athletes who are trying to tear down a giant they cannot topple. The saga of Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers is a microcosm of a league struggling to manage its own identity. Caitlin Clark is being sabotaged not by a single player, but by a collective of envious peers and a complicit administration. Paige Bueckers is a pawn in this game, a tool used to diminish the greatness of a once-in-a-generation player. The final verdict is clear. The WNBA has betrayed its own future. The league has shown itself to be a joke, actively suppressing its brightest star to manufacture a rivalry that doesn't organically exist. The question remains, will the powers that be continue to rig the system, or will they finally realize that a rising tide lifts all boats? Basketball fans are being asked to choose between the manufactured narrative and the undeniable statistical truth.